What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rebel from Balance Manifestation. Today I want to talk to you guys about the mindset of competitiveness versus collaborative mindset. Okay, so what are these two mindsets? Well, competitive mindset is the mindset of I'm gonna be the best of the best, destroy everybody, be better than everybody else in the entire universe, be the strongest version of myself where nobody can keep up, and that is super competitive. It's you against them, you against the next person, you against something else, you against the whole world, you being so competitive that you want to beat everybody else in the entire world. And the next one is called the collaborative frame. The collaborative frame is where you work with the next person, you build yourself up, you build the other person up, and you guys work together to moving forward. But that mindset is a little hard to digest because that is a little bit high vibrational energy to possess, and sometimes it's usually hard to get there unless you have already been through your competitive stage. So what do I want to tell you guys today? Well, before I tell you guys that, I want to show you guys this house behind me right here. See this beautiful house? I walk by this house pretty much, I wouldn't say every single day of the week, but pretty often I'm walking by this beautiful house right here. If you look at this house, it's magnificent. The way it's designed, it's beautiful. But why am I really showing you this house? Because I want to show you this house right after I show you every other house next to it. So I'm going to give you a quick roundup, and I want you to look at every other house over here. I want you to see that brown house right over there. It's pretty simple, it's very basic. It's like the next person on the house. I want you to see this house with the big tree over here. Most of these houses are all very normal, very just like at their surface level, just like any other house. But there's this one house, even this house right next to it. It's a big house, it's pretty cool, but at the same time, it's just a regular house. But when you look at this guy, right? I don't know who this man is, but I see this house, and just by looking at his house, you know, it says something about you. It says something about him. He decorated this house just like how he wanted it. He put like a nice touch to it. He made it a little bit more mystical, a little bit more primal, you know, a little bit more aesthetic, whatever you want to say. He put a little bit more effort to it. But the funny thing is, this house is probably not even worth a lot, because the neighborhood I live in, this house is probably, I don't know, I would say anywhere between 2 to 10 million. Let's say I could say 2 to 10 million. Okay, it's a rough estimate. I'm gonna give something like that. Now, for the same amount of money, if he bought a house downtown, he would probably have like a house right here. He would have this like super basic house there, and he would have probably paid a way lot more by living downtown. So what did he do that was so smart about his house over here? Because this neighborhood is not that rich. I live near this neighborhood, right? I'm here in the working class neighborhood. And so when you look at his house, what does that really tell you? It tells you he was smart with his decisions. He knew with the amount of money he was making, or the lifestyle at where he's at right now, he couldn't make his dream house somewhere near downtown. You know, maybe he works a nice job downtown, or he has like a nice business and he makes good money from that. But what he realized is, if he were to use that money and just buy a house downtown just to fit in with the same bracket people, he would understand that like there's nothing too great to achieve there. What he instead did is he realized that he has power. He just took his power to somewhere of the neighborhood where he could actually become the stronger version of himself and be the strong person. Here's how I'll put it in an example. Let's say you go to Taekwondo classes, right? And everybody there's a black belt, right? And you happen to not be a black belt, you're a purple belt, right? You're not the strongest one there, but you're still pretty good. Purple belt, you're still pretty good. But the thing is, you do not want to work. You do not want to be the best in terms of becoming the black belt, but you're pretty satisfied with being a purple belt. What you do is now you go hang out with the guys that are brown belts, yellow belts, white belts, and you teach them how to do what they do. And being a purple belt just makes you good enough to the point where you can help them and you can help yourself, and you can establish that status in yourself. Funny enough, in life, what's gonna happen is you're gonna have to establish yourself, and that's just how life goes, right? And sometimes people take the right of becoming the best of the best, which is the competitive frame, or you can simply just do something that will make you happy. It is not necessary for you to go through this super competitive stage where you have to be the best of the best and rub it on everybody's face, where you could be good enough to the point where if you were to be at a certain lifestyle where this makes you happy and you're content with who you are and how you live your lifestyle, that becoming at that level is actually pretty good for you. So there's no reason to push for the very, very top. But oftentimes what has happened in our generation is that level is kind of out of touch now. There's no more freedom for us left to be just in the average realm, right? There's too much that has been achieved in this world. There's too much chaos that has been created. So now in order for us to be truly be happy, you have to be able to make those extra leaps. You have to make those extra pushes. You have to make those extra work. You have to put in the extra work to truly achieve where you want to be at life, right? You have to establish a lifestyle where you have a healthy lifestyle. You have to establish a lifestyle where you have a healthy amount of status, you have a healthy amount of friends, a healthy amount of relationships, a healthy amount of peace with also yourself. Your body has to be developed and all these things. And it's just like that, one of those things that you're like, holy shit, bro, I have to do so much. It's almost overwhelming. And so some people don't want to do it. Some people don't want to develop themselves. But the truth is that you just have to develop yourself for yourself. So let's get back to the initial point I was making. Competitive versus collaborative frame. The reason I showed you that house was because there's this saying called that if you want to build the tallest building in the city, right? There's two ways you can go about it. You can either build the top of the biggest building, right? Which is coming from a super competitive mindset. The mindset is that if I build the biggest tower, then every other person's tower is gonna be small compared to mine, and therefore I'll be the best, right? That's one way to look at it. That's saying I'm gonna build the biggest one, so nothing ever comes to my stage. But that's like super competitive because you're in this mindset of you versus them, and it's always just this. You're trying to chase this validation from other people, so you keep saying you versus them. Now there's this other mindset where you're like, okay, who cares about me building the best, because that's gonna require a lot of work. I'm just gonna break down every other person's building so my one looks the biggest, right? That's the second way of looking at it, where you just tell yourself, I'm lazy, bro. I'm not gonna put in the work. I'm gonna put in a little bit of the work, but I'll spend most of my time damaging other people's work so they just can't be the best of where I am, right? That's also that's not necessarily a collaborative frame, that's also a competitive frame, but that's just the lazy competitive frame where you don't even want to put in the work. So you rather like talk smack about other people and then put other people down to the point where you feel a little bit better about yourself because you're having more time to build yourself up and go in the process. So there's two ways of going about that. The competitive, if you're coming from the competitive mindset. But the thing is, when you're in the competitive mindset, even when you are winning, it's not always about the win, right? You could stay competitive and then you'll come up at these points. Hi, how are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. You'll be at these stages where you feel like you're going to be happy with whatever results you have gotten, but that's not necessarily true, because as soon as you realize that you rub it on other people's faces or whatever, and you try being extra competitive, and they're not necessarily happy with who you are, and they don't even appreciate you for who you are, and most of all, you can appreciate yourself for who you are, you come to the understanding that, okay, being competitive wasn't the way to go. Yeah, now you have everything, now you got everything, and you know, there's that ego boost, but your happiness doesn't come from the ego. Your happiness comes from fulfillment in your heart, fulfillment in your purpose. So if you were to simply just build the biggest tower and say, now I'm happy, that wouldn't help you, because yeah, you have built the biggest tower now, but that has nothing to do with how small your heart still is. Your heart still hasn't been filled yet. So why would making money or building the biggest tower make it seem like a lot of people are happy doing that? Because the truth is, it's not that itself what made them happy. It's the fact that now they have the power to do things that will help them be happy. You're making money isn't the part that makes you happy. When you have money, now you know you have the freedom to free your family from, if they're in poverty or whatever, if they're in a weak mindset, or if they're somewhere where they need help. Now you know you have the power to help them out of there. When you know that you have enough money to create change for people who are suffering just like that, that creates a certain amount of confidence and fulfillment in your heart. So understanding that from the competitive and the collaborative mindset is that you have to understand you're not doing this competitive mindset for yourself. Yeah, it is, but initially we are all doing it for ourselves, right? Even when I got into self-development, I was a fucking selfish motherfucker. My mindset was, how do I get laid? How do I get people to like me? How do I make so much money so I can do fancy things, right? All these things were in my mind. We all got into it for selfish reasons, but when you start digging deep, when you go deep into the roots of who you are and what you're doing and why you're doing this for, you start realizing that there's more. When I started doing semen retention as my journey, I realized semen retention wasn't just this like thing you do to build a nice aesthetic physique and just find massive attraction from women. What I realized was when I was doing semen retention that there's purpose, there's peace, there's discipline, there's energy, there's all these things that you can learn from it. And as I'm there, when I first properly started doing it, and I'm in like 30-40 days, and actually I think I'm somewhere around the 40 day again from my last streak that I messed up on. What I've realized is there's much more to this energy. The thing is, I wasn't aware of what I was getting myself into. At first I did it because I wanted the shallow things, I wanted the little things, I wanted that aesthetic physique, I wanted that validation, right? Then as I started doing it more, then I realized there's more to it. And that's not something you realize unless you truly like put yourself into the work of it. So when you're working through it and your mind gets this clarity, right? You have this like blissful moment where your mind is clear, you can think for yourself, you can make your own choices, you can move like the way you want to. That's when it starts coming in that there's more to this than what you thought initially. Initially you just thought, I'll do this and it'll help me out in these two areas: getting laid, getting good physique, and getting money to live that great lifestyle. But what you realize is you're in the semen retention journey for so long, slowly you start realizing that, holy shit, this wasn't something I was gonna do just for myself. Well, you are doing this for yourself, but the power that you get from it is immense. It's like the way my mind has been unlocked now, the way I can move, the way I can think, the way that I can program my thoughts for my future is just so different. So it's funny that now that I've gotten into it, it's like the first things that I was super into, it doesn't even matter anymore, because I have to, now that I realize, now that I witness this power, how am I gonna use that to my benefits, right? How am I gonna use that, maximize it to my potential and use it to the way I need to take it? You can get into it for shallow reasons, but then as soon as you keep working on it, soon you realize that that's not why it's meant to be used for. You gotta use it for the right reasons. And so when you free your mind, that's when you'll realize that you have the power to do so. Otherwise, you'll always be in your loophole of your thoughts, right? Your thoughts will keep running you. I'm not good enough, I can't do it. Maybe I can, maybe I cannot. Why should I do it? What if I lose? What if I fail? You'll have all these thoughts. But sometimes you also have to understand these are just your thoughts at the end of the day. Your thoughts doesn't define who you are, you define who you are. But if you don't take the action, you'll be there who you are. So when you get out of the competitive mindset, when you have gone out of the mindset of, okay, it's not me against them. First of all, it's me against myself. And when I can do the best and how to make myself the best version of myself. Then comes the collaborative frame, where why not understand that, why do I have to break everybody's building down? Or why do I have to build the tallest building? Why can't I help the next person build theirs and I build mine in the process too? And maybe we can both help each other build it on the process, or we both build ours and share that positive vibe to another person. Now that's really hard to do. Being straight up, this is like, I'm not gonna give you guys some woo-woo bullshit, like straight up, that's hard to do. Being so positive from your head, and especially if you're living around a negative area or you have too much negativity in your life, it's hard to just be this positive for no goddamn reason. Nobody's a saint. You'll ask yourself, oftentimes you're like, why would I do that? People treat me like shit, people don't give me the respect that I want. Why the hell would I do that? Which makes no sense. But you also have to understand you're also doing this for your own happiness. When you're being competitive, your validation only relies on other people. When you're being competitive, your validation only relies on numbers and stuff like that. The little things, the shallow things. When you put your mind to it, you realize that it's not other people's validation that should run my happiness. It should be from my own heart. Then you'll slowly start to understand it's not about being competitive. It's about being collaborative. But that's hard to get to. And you're gonna have to work on it, you know, a day at a time. You're gonna have to work on it. But the more you put in the work, slowly you'll realize that that's just how you find true happiness in your heart. Your ego gets a little boost, and that's like the dirty pleasure you feel when you think about it like that. When you think about it like, I'm better than this guy, I'm better than the next person. That's your ego trying to like make you feel good. Having status is a good thing, but your ego it's a different thing. Your ego will always play mind games on you, and your ego also wants you to improve. Now, don't come here and say, let me just get rid of my ego then, because the ego is useless. You don't just come here and say, let me get rid of the ego because my ego is useless. Your ego is actually here for a lot of good things. Your natural animal primal instincts, if you were a dead autistic person just left on the jungle, your ego is actually what would help you survive. That's the cold hard truth. Your ego will help you get up, feel hungry, go look for food, hunt, make yourself home, dinner, whatever, get out of there, whatever you'll do. Your ego has natural, normal instincts to keep your human body alive. But we're much more than just what our human body is. And sometimes we fail to realize that because our ego is so connected to who we are, and we do so many self-sabotaging things to ruin our connection with our self. I was gonna say our spiritual self, but I don't want to take you guys down the spiritual road. I want to give you guys the realistic thoughts, the realistic advice. So understand that when you're so far, like if you're doing a lot of drugs, you're masturbating all day, you're not ever focused on your purpose, you're not helping other people out, you're too busy worrying about yourself, your mindset is there about the competitive mind frame, and you're super stuck with the ego. So like I was saying, the ego is not something you want to get rid of, because the animal instincts is necessary for your daily survival. But the problem becomes this: when you fail to realize on an everyday basis that the generation we live in right now, the society we live in right now, the powers we're living through today and tomorrow, our ego is just this much of what we need to do in our life. If you stay in the mindset of ego, you're gonna be just like everybody else, where you're gonna live the Matrix lifestyle. Wake up 9 to 5, house, car, wife, kids, death. I'm gonna finish the video here. So if you want to be like the Matrix, like I was saying, it's just gonna happen. You're gonna live that very basic lifestyle. Your life's just gonna end, and you're gonna be confused why you never achieved anything great in your life. Your life's meaning can be that you went to 30, 40, 50, 60 working day after day, day after day, collecting a paycheck after paycheck, and then just ending it. That's not where we want to end you up. There's higher purpose in your life. You have more values in your life that you want to achieve. And in order for you to get that, you have to understand that there's powers in your head that you can actually unlock. When I got into the semen retention, I did it for very shallow reasons. How can I go get laid? How can I get other people to like me, give me validation? How can I be that person who everybody was like, whoa, this is him, he's so cool, right? To validate my ego. And like I said, you can't get rid of the ego. Ego is actually a good thing. Ego is what keeps you alive. It's your animalistic primal instincts, what would keep you alive if you were lost in the jungle. But the ego is also this much of it. And to increase your life's capacity, you have to be able to take the risk. You have to be able to move yourself forward. You have to be able to do things to make yourself the best version of yourself. In that mindset, oftentimes people are getting very competitive. People want to tear each other down so they can be the first person to make it, so they can feel that bliss of happiness. But the only reason you want to be collaborative and not be competitive is because when you're in that competitive mindset, your ego can't make you happy. When you say that, I got this, this, and this, those are words, those are logic, those are tangible things. Right? In your head, you're just like, I got these things. Now what? You can rub it on somebody's face and feel that dirty pleasure, like, ha ha, he's a piece of shit, and I'm the king. And then you're left with yourself. After you've made that comparison, you're done. There's nothing else more to feel than that. Because the pure happiness only comes from in your heart. Your true happiness will come from your heart if you come from the collaborative mindset. If you collaborate instead of trying to tear somebody else down, if you can seek joy by helping somebody else also build themselves up, that'll give you fulfillment. That'll make you happy. That'll make you a better person. That'll make you feel love, joy, You'll be able to take it and appreciate it for what it is. And so that's what it's up to. That's why you're not doing competitiveness. But you want to be competitive because you want to win at life, right? Everybody wants to win at life. I want to win at life. Everybody wants to win. We want to win. But we want to take shortcuts. We want to demolish everybody. Or we want to speed up the process by isolating everybody and just working on ourselves and not pushing ourselves so far up. Instead of working with somebody else, working together. Both of you in it together. We're all humans. If we all work together, we can bring it up. So I hope you understand that. I hope you get that. I hope you really understand that you're not being competitive for the selfish reasons you got into. When you unlock your mind, there's a lot more to it than you realize. When I got these powers, when my mind was unlocked, when I went in the semen retention journey for days and I've been on the streak and I've been going 10 day, 20 day, 30 day, 40 day, 50 day, I've been going up. The only thing I realized is the more you get up and you get this clarity of mind and you get this power of your mind being so free, you realize this isn't for using the shallow stuff only. You're not only wasting this for the shallow stuff that give you that instant gratification. It's cool and all, that's the thing that comes with it. But there's so much power to it that you realize if I'm just failing to use this, that's ridiculous. If I'm not using this to get me, my family out of whatever, if I'm not using this to build myself to the point where I can help other people, this power is wasted. You realize how waste of a power it is just to use it for those two shallow things. You know, getting people's validation or getting laid. There's way more power to it. So when you have the competitive power, when you're up on the stage, when you're up somewhere high and you have these benefits in your life, use it for the good. Use it to help somebody else and make yourself a better person at the same time. So with that being said, man, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a subscribe, man. For more awesome content like this, I'm going to keep you guys posted with my journey and how I'm building myself up and how you can build yourself in the process. Drop me a thumbs up, comment down below if you want me to clear up anything, share this video with like-minded people, and with that being said, man, I will see you in the next one.